Okay, doing another update. I found one more issue with the car. Oops, let me turn on my interior lights here. I noticed that every time I get in the car that it takes quite a while to cool down. I live in a hot area, so it's kind of a pain, where I live. So the air conditioner defaults to driver side only. And I don't know why it does that. It does it in auto mode, regular mode, whatever. I have to manually turn on the passenger side by tapping this side. And I understand why it does that for the rear zone. Unless someone's sitting in the back seat, the rear air doesn't come on. That's, probably makes it a little more efficient to cool the car. But having just the driver's side on means you have especially if you live in hot weather like I do, the driver's side, you may be getting cool air, but the passenger side, the whole right side of the car stays warm. And you really need both sides to come on for the entire front zone to be comfortable. And it cools significantly faster when both sides are on. So I'm not really sure why they did that. I'm not sure that it makes sense. I don't think it's definitely not cooling the car faster by having only the driver's side. It definitely cools the car faster when you have driver and passenger side on at the same time. So their logic is flawed. So I suspect that it could be an oversight. I submitted a bug report, so let's see what happens. Yesterday I had an issue where I went into the menu to look at the owner's manual, and none of this was here. It was all kind of blacked out, and anything I touched, it was just black, and the whole system locked up. I had to do a soft reset by hitting both thumb wheels, or both steering wheel controls. Also, somebody commented that the windshield wiper, if you hold it down, you get the menu, and that's not the case. What happens when you hold this down or tap, either way, you get the washers. The washers will spray, and sometimes you just don't want that to happen. You have to go through the menu here. Oops, let me close that out. You have to go through the menu here, and you have to hit wiper, and then that little menu pops up, and then you can adjust whatever you want. And that's the only way I can get that to pop up, is through that button without spraying the windshield wipers. So that I don't really like. Let's see. Oh, someone also commented, oh, hey, the guy only has 12 subscribers. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, I mean, I may have 12 subscribers, but I only posted my first video 6 days ago. And while I appreciate all of you guys subscribing, really I only started the channel to post about things that I didn't see other people talking about. Nobody really mentions these things. Marquise Brownlee, even in his review of his car, the only complaint he had were the thumb wheels on the buttons on the yoke, which I agree 100%. There's a lot of times where I'm turning or doing something, and I'll tap something and I'll get one blink. While I'm turning the wheel or something, I'll get one blink, and it's just weird, and they're just way too sensitive. Maybe there's a way they can turn these down. I haven't had any other issues. I haven't honked on accident. Well, no, I did honk on accident once. I did flash my brights on somebody once, but for the most part, it's the turn signals that's the issue. If they can decrease the sensitivity, or if they had physical buttons, it would just make life so much easier. But I understand they want to be technologically up there and make everything nice, so I get it. But point is, nobody's really talking about these minor things that I found were a problem with my car. And they may not be problems for everybody, like creep. That's not a problem for most people. I don't mind creep or hold. I only have my car in creep and my old Model 3s in creep because of my wife, and she drives a GLE 63, and it's really hard for people that don't drive Teslas to get the hang of lightly tapping the gas to get the car to move. Like a very light touch gets the car to creep a little bit. It's just a lot easier to have the car in creep mode and modulate movement by releasing the brake gently, because you've got a set amount of forward motion programmed in, and you're just letting go of the brake to move the car when you're parking, forward and back, forward and back. When you don't have creep on and you have hold, you really have to kind of be very purposeful in how much accelerator you use, especially when you have the car in full insane acceleration mode all the time. The car is really twitchy and jumpy, and I see her lunging back and forth when she's trying to get out of the garage or the driveway. Excuse me. So I like creep for that reason, and that's the only reason I like creep. Otherwise, I like hold. When I'm sitting at a stoplight, I do like the car holding its position with my foot off the brake. But I don't know if you guys know or not, on the Model 3 and I believe the Model S, if you're in creep mode, the car doesn't automatically go into hold mode. You have to physically hold the brake for the car to stay at a stoplight without being in forward motion. But you guys may not know that when you're in creep mode and you're stopped at a stoplight, you give the brake one quick stab and the car automatically goes into hold mode. If you stab the brakes, the car goes into hold. So when you tap the brakes, the hold gets released and then the car goes. So you get the best of both worlds if you use creep. I mean, if you really, really want a hold just for that one purpose, you know, being in traffic or being at a stoplight, you can use creep and still hold brake. So that's just a little thing I'd throw out there. But yeah, I'll continue to try to post little things if I find any things. Outside of that, I mean, I'm not trying to be real negative about this car. I love this car. So far, I've had it about 3 weeks. I've got 2,700 miles on it. The car's perfect. It's a joy to drive. It's absolutely so much smoother and quieter than the Model 3. Build quality is insane. The ride quality is super impressive. It's on par or better than my wife's 2018 S580. It is just as nice, if not better, in every way. Everything's great. The steering wheel, I'm still on the fence about that. There's a lot of times when I'm doing a large, you know, big turn, like a U-turn or something, or trying to park, when I have to grab the wheel over here or on the short side, it's just too wide and too narrow to be comfortable for that kind of thing. It's just weird. Sometimes I still grab air even after, you know, 2,700 miles of driving. I still grab for the top of the steering wheel, and vice versa. When I drive my wife's car, she has a GLE 63 now, I'm looking for the turn signals over here when there's a stock, you know, and so yeah, there's pros and cons to driving both types of vehicles. So as I get used to it, I get more and more used to it, but it's still not great for U-turns and parking. I really wish they had come out with some kind of variable ratio steering where for low speed parking maneuvers or U-turns, the yoke would be perfect if it only did 90 degrees in each direction. If it did that, the yoke would be insanely great. If you had a regular steering ratio for when you're driving above, like, let's say 10, 15 miles an hour, and if you had a enhanced, you know, high ratio steering where 90 degrees lock to lock will give you full turning radius, or full, you know, tight turns, that would be so impressive. And I don't see why they couldn't do that, considering this thing is all electronic. I guess it's not a steering by wire system, so maybe it's physically impossible, but it would be neat if they could do that. That would really make the yoke perfect. But outside of that, I absolutely love this car. There's no doubt about it. It's a far better car than the Model 3. I still think there's way too much real estate here not being fully utilized. Like this, I could see on the Model 3 and I could read just as well without, you know, the Model 3, without this giant screen. But anyways, there you go. Bye.